The phone call began with quiet relief. Alex stood in the yard near the bamboo gate, holding the phone close to his ear. On the other end of the line was Adam, the buyer who had taken a chance on their premium pomelo harvest. Adam's voice was steady, appreciative. He said the fruit was perfect. He said the pomelos were clean, the weight was balanced, and the quality was exactly what he had hoped to see when he opened the first box. Alex let out a breath he didn't know he was holding. On the porch, Tuna watched him, her hands resting softly on the wooden table. She saw his shoulders drop, and she offered a small, tired smile. They had done it. But then Adam's voice changed. The warmth faded into something more clinical, more confused. "Alex," Adam said, the sound carrying through the small speaker. "The fruit is yours. I know your soil, I know the skin, but the papers inside, they don't make sense." Alex frowned, stepping closer to the porch. "What do you mean?" "The origin label printed on the outside of the box," Adam explained slowly, "says one thing. But the farm story insert slipped inside the box, the paper that tells your family's story, belongs to a completely different region. It doesn't match." "Alex," to a supermarket inspector, "this doesn't look like a mistake. It looks like you are buying cheap fruit from somewhere else and putting your premium label on it." On the porch, Tuna's small smile vanished. The color drained from her face. She looked down at the stack of blank farm story inserts still sitting on the wooden table. In one single moment, the family's best, most careful work looked entirely careless. A shadow fell over the morning. "Hello, everyone. We hope you are having a peaceful day. But in today's story, peace leaves the wooden house before anyone is ready for it. The problem was not the fruit. The problem was not the soil. The problem was a single piece of paper that threatened to unravel everything they had built. But when you are trying to elevate the value of your hard work, packaging is no longer just decoration. It is your voice when you are not in the room. If the presentation is confused, the buyer assumes the farming is confused. If the labels contradict each other, the trust evaporates." Tuna sat frozen at the table. She had been the one folding the inserts. She had been the one matching the papers to the daily harvest logs. If the wrong inserts had gone into the boxes, she felt certain the failure belonged entirely to her. Alex ended the call with Adam, promising to trace the error immediately. He put the phone in his pocket and walked slowly toward the porch. He didn't look angry. To understand why that phone call felt so heavy, you have to understand what the last 2 weeks had looked like inside the wooden house. Alex and Tuna had been preparing this second premium pomelo batch with an almost protective intensity. They had tightened every step of the handling process. The fruit was no longer just tossed into baskets. It was carefully sorted by weight, skin texture, and color. They had invested in cleaner, stronger boxes, and more importantly, they had rewritten the farm story insert. It was no longer a generic piece of marketing. It was a warm, honest letter about their yard, the way they grew the fruit, and the clean soil Henry played on. Tuna was still recovering her strength. Her energy was not what it used to be, but she refused to sit idle while Alex carried the farm. She had taken over the record flow and the paper sorting from the porch table, sitting in the shade, checking the harvest numbers, and folding the story inserts. She had finally felt useful again. It was a quiet rhythm that gave her dignity during a fragile time. She wanted to protect the family's income, but underneath that, she was secretly afraid of making mistakes, while her mind was still clouded with fatigue. Now, hearing Adam's words, that fear became real. A label is a small thing. A piece of paper weighs almost nothing. But the silence in the yard felt heavier than the midday heat. Tuna looked at the copy of the label sitting on her ledger. The fruit was right. The box was right. But one wrong piece of paper had made the whole batch feel unreliable. "I checked them," Tuna said, her voice barely above a whisper. Her hands moved over the remaining papers, touching them, as if trying to find the mistake hidden in the stack. "I checked every single insert before they went into the staging baskets. I swear I did, Alex." Alex pulled out a chair and sat across from her. He looked at the meticulous way she had organized her table. The good labels were in one neat pile. The discarded drafts were in a separate box, far away. Her handwriting in the logbook was careful and clear. This is the hidden danger of value-added farming. When you start selling refined, packaged goods instead of raw, bulk harvest, the rules change entirely. You are no longer just a grower, you are a processor. Many families make the mistake of thinking the hard work ends when the fruit is picked. But the truth is, the moment the fruit goes into a branded box, a new kind of vulnerability begins. Alex knew he had to look closely at their process, not just at his wife's tired hands. "Adam sent a photo of the insert he found," Alex said quietly, opening his phone and sliding it across the table. Tuna leaned in, but as she looked at the glowing screen, her breath hitched. The paper in the photo was crumpled at the edges. It was an old draft of their farm story, one they had discarded weeks ago because the printer had made an error with the region code. "Alex," Tuna said, her voice shaking slightly, "I threw all of these away. They were in the wastebasket near the old shed. They never even made it to this porch." That small detail changed the whole meaning of the morning. Alex stared at the photo. If Tuna had never brought the bad papers to the packing table, how did one end up inside a sealed, finished box? The mistake wasn't born from fatigue. Something else was broken. Before 5 minutes had passed, Alex faced a clear and difficult choice. He could react emotionally, blame the easiest target, which was Tuna's exhaustion and the general chaos of the harvest, or he could slow down and trace the real weak point. When pressure hits a family, it is easy to let the frustration land on the person standing closest to you. If Alex had sighed, if he had said, "You need to be more careful," the damage to Tuna's confidence would have been deep and lasting. She was already carrying the guilt. If he reacted emotionally, they would not only hurt each other, but they would miss the actual system failure happening right under their noses. The family had reached a critical crossroad. "No," Alex said, his voice firm but entirely gentle. "Look at your table, Tuna." She hesitated, then looked down. "Your piles are perfect. Your ledger is exact," Alex said, pointing to her notebook. He picked up one of the correct labels and turned it over in his hand. "This is not your shame. This is a system telling us where it is weak. Maybe I walked to the shed and didn't remember." She was dismantling her own trust in herself, trying to absorb the blame to make the problem make sense. Alex watched her for a long moment. He saw the way she was shrinking into her chair, retreating from the work she had been so proud of just an hour ago. He reached across the table, took the phone back, and turned the screen off. Tuna looked away from the phone, her shoulders sinking. "Maybe I shouldn't have helped," she said quietly, the words cracking in the still air. "I thought I was making it easier for you, but my mind is still so tired, Alex. Maybe I mixed the baskets. You did not put that paper in that box." Tuna did not answer, but she looked up at him. The heavy, suffocating fear in her face began to soften, replaced by a fragile, searching relief. He was not letting her carry this alone. If Tuna had not made the mistake, then where did the system break? Alex left the porch and began to retrace the physical flow of the packaging process. This is a practical step that every family business must learn. You cannot fix a flow problem from a chair. You have to walk the path the product takes. The practical lesson here is about access and consistency. When you package goods, labels, batch details, origin inserts, and packing dates must move in a straight, unbroken line. The hidden cost of ignoring this is exactly what they were experiencing: a loss of reputation. Alex walked from the porch, where the papers were sorted, to the kitchen, where the fruit was wiped clean. A few feet away, near the fence line, was a small pile of discarded items waiting to be burned. Among the dry leaves and old cardboard, Alex saw the edge of a misprinted insert. The wind had blown a few of them from the shed wastebasket across the yard. Suddenly, the picture became clear. Yesterday afternoon, while Tuna was resting and Alex was busy in the back garden, little Henry had been playing in the yard. Alex remembered Henry running around the staging tables, helping by picking things up. He remembered seeing Henry holding a piece of paper, mimicking his mother's folding motions. Henry hadn't known the difference between a good insert from the porch and a bad insert blown near the fence. To a child, paper was paper. He had likely picked up the misprinted draft from the yard and slipped it into an open box, proud that he was doing the work of the family. No one had checked the boxes before taping them shut. The final staging area had no access control. They had treated the packaging area like a casual backyard rather than a protected workspace. The mistake wasn't malice. It wasn't Tuna's fatigue. It was a complete lack of boundaries around their finished product. They had left an open box unattended in a space where life, wind, and a curious child could interfere. That path was clear. Then he walked from the kitchen to the side yard, under the large awning where the empty cardboard boxes were folded and staged. Finally, he walked to the bamboo tables near the front gate. This was their final staging area. This was where the clean fruit met the folded boxes, where the papers were slipped inside, and where the tape was applied. He stood near the gate and looked around. The staging area was convenient for the delivery truck, but it was entirely exposed. It was close to the road, close to the outer fence, and out of direct sight from the kitchen window. Alex looked down at the ground near the staging tables. She let out a long, trembling breath, resting her forehead in her hands, not out of sadness, but out of pure relief. She wasn't broken. She wasn't a burden. They called Adam back and explained exactly what had happened. They didn't hide behind excuses. They told him about the wind, the yard, and the lack of a final visual check before the tape went on. Honesty, when paired with accountability, often saves a relationship faster than a perfect lie. Adam did not cancel the order, but if your finished boxes are sitting open near the front gate, out of your sight, who else can touch them before they leave? The real transformation that day was not just in how they handled papers, it was a shift in how they viewed their home. Life had become lighter for Tuna because the blame was removed, but a new, quiet awareness had taken its place. The deeper truth they learned was that packaging is not just a marketing tool. It is the final layer of protection around your family's hard work. Alex returned to the porch and sat beside Tuna. He explained what he had found, tracing the path of the wind, the wastebasket, and little Henry's innocent hands. The heavy weight completely left Tuna's chest. He appreciated the transparency, and he knew the fruit itself was uncompromised. But before he hung up, Adam asked a question that lingered in the air long after the call ended. "Alex," Adam said softly, "it was just your son this time. A harmless piece of paper. If you leave that layer exposed, you are leaving your reputation and your safety open to the wind." That evening, as Alex moved the staging tables away from the front gate and closer to the heart of the house, he looked out at the bamboo fence. The pomelos had survived the day, but the gate looked older, and the yard felt a little too open. The product was safe now, but Alex knew the real work of protecting the wooden house was only just beginning. Thank you for spending this time with Alex, Tuna, and Henry. We hope this quiet lesson from the wooden house brings clarity to your own family's work and reminds you that when mistakes happen, the answer is rarely found in blame, but in looking closely at the spaces we leave unguarded.